What's going on, everybody? Welcome to this episode of Central Valley Livin. This is your host, Jose. You can find me on Instagram at JGUZ808. And we got my co-host here,
Jay Antone. You can find me on Instagram. Antone, says ANTONE _92. Please shut the fuck up, Posey.
Anyways, so we're starting this little podcast here. We want to talk to people, talk to each other about different ideas, different ways of thinking, because we're all different. We all have our own mindset, and it's always fun to have a different insight and a different way, a different avenue when thinking about certain things. Mostly it's fun just to talk shit about everything and kind of have your buddies here talking conversations. But for the most part, what we're going to be doing here is thinking of a subject. We'll talk about it. We want to have a literary hour because we're classy as fuck.
Definitely.
We're having movie reviews because we're fucking, we know our shit. And we're going to have music, which we're I have to figure that one out. Maybe we'll just make our own.
It's different, nowadays with everything. I mean, are we discussing taste or are we discussing just intros in general?
I don't know. Well, maybe we'll, I have a buddy that makes beats, and maybe we'll just we'll write a verse, and that'll be our thing, you know what I mean? Like, we'll put out a few verses here and there. Because we do stuff like that. We're writers, we're poets.
We're recording!
We're doing
Shut up!
We're doing everything.
Or sit down! Jesus.
We're all over. We're all.
Yeah,
just a dude cooking in the background. That's what every fucking podcast needs, right?
Yeah, just someone talking in the background.
Every podcast needs a fucking goddamn audience.
That's why there's an on-air sign for a fucking reason for people like you. It's like, hey, did anybody see my shorts? I think I misplaced my shorts. There was this baddie that came over to the studio last night.
Are you guys recording?
You guys are
recording?
Oh my god.
Did I interrupt it? Yes, just start over.
Just start over.
Just cut me out.
We're on live. Oh my god, I'm sorry. Please don't fire me. Yeah, you're those people.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay.
First of all, you're not paying me. Second of all, I'm gonna eat all
There's a
these
reason.
fucking potatoes, bro.
Are they done?
Oh, really?
Are my potatoes done?
Because they usually take like 15 minutes.
Jesus.
Yeah, you have to keep the fire low or else you're going to burn them. Anyway, sorry.
I'm all breaking the fourth wall, bro.
Another thing is, we know how to cook because we're cultured as fuck.
Exactly.
Fucking intro, bro.
Yeah, this is the intro.
God damn it, Hussy!
This is what we're doing.
Where's my intro?
You don't deserve it.
Yeah, not right now, dude.
You already got your intro.
Yeah.
This is your intro.
You're the background guy.
You're that guy.
Yeah, you're that guy. Does anybody see my shoes? Oh, you're that guy.
My shorts. Oh fuck, I'm not wearing pants. Oh my god, are you guys recording this video? I see the computer. The computer's moving in little waves.
My girlfriend called me. I'm gonna go. Wait. Oh my god. I'm sorry.
Don't get back to the house, right?
Sorry.
What a guy. Anyways. So we do a number of things, obviously.
And please, just for full disclaimer, this is more of just us introing.
We're fun.
We've had serious episodes.
We'll get into this.
Consider this more of a behind the scenes, just giving you a little introduction to who we are. As people, we like to fuck around. We're just. I'm not gonna say average because we're extraordinary people, but we're just regular day people living our lives.
Yeah, and like I said, we do a multiple number of things. Personally, I skateboard. I go to school for physical therapy. I'm a massage therapist. My job. I do multiple things. I draw, write music. I can write stories. It's,
Stick figures?
we could draw, there's multiple levels to everybody, and the thing that we want to do here is find those things and talk to people about why they enjoy and love those things, because everybody has interests and everybody has common interests, and we love pretty much a wide variety of everything. So to talk to people about why they love things is always enjoyable to me, and which is what pushes me to want to have this little podcast, because I want to have conversations with buddies, conversations with people that have things to say, and just have a good time, have fun with friends, and get to know them a little bit better, because how I feel, we don't talk to each other as much as we used to. Everything's a text message, everything, you'll find out what people are up to in Snapchat and Instagram. There's no reason to really call people. There's no reason to have personal interaction other than going to the bar and fucking drinking probably nowadays. It's stay at home and you can find out what everybody's doing off your phone, so I want to have more conversations. I want to pick your mind. I want to find out what makes you tick, and I wanted to.
Are you trying to hit on the audience, or what's going on right now?
Yeah, I am. I want to know you.
You want to?
I want to know you. I want to know you intimately. Yeah.
Do you want to be inside their mind?
I want to be inside something. Yeah.
Or mentally.
Whatever. If you can feel me inside you, that's
Again,
great.
people, this is not. This is just.
This is a
Yeah.
Well,
We're real sorry for the sidetrack. There's so much thoughts we want to get dish out, but keep getting interrupted.
So, but yeah. Other than that, like I said, there's a lot of people here. There's a lot of culture. There's a lot of influence, but there's just nothing really gets out because we're stuck in this little valley, and people come through. They'll stop off, but they don't really stay. They kind of just keep moving, and they'll mention here and there. But I feel like there's enough coming out of here that we should make this known, and at least help, like in any way that we can. And obviously podcasts are great. It's a good way to have long form conversations and talk about the things that everybody lives, everyday life. And to me, that's always interesting. Is life has always been one of the more interesting things than making up a story. A lot of weird shit happens, and I want to hear about it. This is Hosie, aka Hosie, aka the Hosie.
On Instagram.
On Instagram, yeah. We all live together. We all this is my best friend for fucking 20 years.
20 years.
Somewhere around there. Anybody that's lucky enough to have someone in their life for 20 years that's not part of their family is always a good thing. Keep people around. And that's another thing is there's a lot of family here. There's a lot of people that grew up together. There's people went to, most of my high school senior year, I probably knew most of the people because we all kind of, grew up together. But, now it's a really big place. It's growing. It deserves recognition in my eyes. There's a lot of talent, musically, skateboarding, football, soccer. I know a lot of just amazing people, and then motivational speakers, people that are really pushing issues like Hispanic rights, and there's a lot of good culture stuff coming out of here. And hopefully we can touch base with some of those people and really get to know the the real motivators and the real inspirational people that are in this town that may have so much going on that they can't get their message out, on a platform like a podcast, or maybe they haven't even thought about it. Maybe they think it's kind of a waste of time, and I want to, even if it's a waste of time to them, I really feel like a personal conversation is not a waste of time to me. So, the more the merrier. We hope to put out one of these at least once a week, if not more, twice. We're going up on YouTube. Going to set up on Twitch. We're on Instagram. Central Valley Livin. Look us up. All our platforms are all getting worked on right now. Everything's in its infancy, so don't mind us. But mostly the whole thing I want to get across here is that there's people here that I know have a voice because I grew up with them. They have interesting stuff to say. Everybody has similarities to where you can relate. A lot of these conversations are going to get deep. There's going to be a lot of fun, playful ones. Like I said, there's going to be movie review. I want to do a troll hour. There's a lot of thoughts going into these podcasts that I've been thinking about for the past year or so. So now we're finally making it happen. I know this fucking dude is eating. Yeah, it's like we're not recording. Yeah, we're not recording. We're just eating fucking carbs on carbs. Fucking guy. Anyways, fitness is also a big part of my life, and
trying to make it a culture in the home.
yeah, it's it's really growing again here in Visalia as far in the valley, because people are starting to understand that it is something that's actually necessary in your life. And anytime I can promote that is great. If you look at my Instagram, it's full of fucking pictures.
Go to bed.
Basically gym pictures and stuff like that. But if you look back and go forward, you'll see the transformation, and it's totally an option for people to just take that little motivation and
I'm hating
to try
100%.
and actually do something.
With peanut butter and fucking
No eating while recording.
No interrupting while recording. God damn it.
But yeah, so I know a few trainers. I know a lot of fitness junkies. I'm gonna try to make some friends with some that maybe some real athletes. I go to COS, College of the Sequoias. It's a that's a really big playground for adults, and which is a good thing because there's a lot of mingling. There's a lot of different people there, and the more the merrier. The more people you meet, the better off I feel this life experience is going to be for you, and the happier you will be, because there's nothing better than personal interaction with somebody, whether it's just a 5-second lapse or a 5-minute conversation. You know what I mean? It's always fun. It's always fun, and that's what pushes me to want to have these conversations. Everybody I feel has something random to say about everything, because with the internet today, everybody can just look up anything and be an expert on anything, according to YouTube, which is how it should be. Information shouldn't be locked up in a book and where you have to pay to get to that fucking information. It should be open to the public. We should be giving each other the tools that we need to survive on this planet, rather than try to capitalize on knowledge. It's a silly concept. and hopefully that'll be talked about here soon within the next few elections. Hopefully we'll get some younger people in office, man. People that actually know what the fuck's going on. People that have kids that are, under 30. Wouldn't that be some stuff? You know what I mean? Like, or at least, I don't know, man. Like, I say a good 50-something-year-old president would actually probably be good right now, because they grew up with the internet, at least. They know things about how social media is done, how modern America is, how modern world is, you know what I mean? Like, Donald Trump's, he's pretty close, but he's still, I don't know, he's still up there in age to where, you know what I mean? Like, he's in his 70s, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, how, 78 is a pretty high number if you were to go all eight years, you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of pushing it, no? Don't you think? Like, would you want an 80-year-old telling you what to do? And it's not advice. It's telling you what to do. You know what I mean? It's kind of that. It's like, it's kind of that push that but realistically, I can't say that I feel it, because I'm the modern man. I'm just a working modern Joe, random dude. So politics, I don't really know too much about. I know a few people that do, and I would love to hear what their views on this is, because I honestly do not know what is actually going on. I try not to, in the sense of politics, I believe ignorance is bliss. But it shouldn't be that way, because it really does affect my life. It affects all our lives in a way that is noticeable to most. But to me, I'm just like, I'm going to go to work. I'm going to go to school. I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to pick up my baby. You know what I mean? Like, my daily routine doesn't seem to be affected with any of these presidents that I've lived through. You know what I mean? And maybe that's the best part about the valley, is maybe this little dome, this little crevasse that we live in. You know what I mean? Like, this little valley is it's not shut off from that, but it is, there is a fence, I would say. Some have come through, even Bernie Sanders made it through for a nice speech that I heard was pretty good. You made it to that, didn't you?
I was there.
Yeah? How was that? You were there.
It was amazing. The energy was dope. It was really funny because there was a lot of Trump supporters there. But their president didn't.
Well, it's our president, man. Come on.
No.
It's not who you wanted, but it is our president.
That's the cool part about this country, is that I don't have to choose it. It's like whatever. It's like saying my king. You're not a king.
But you still have to address him as my king.
No, you don't have to.
At least king. It is still President Trump. That is his fucking label.
Call him Agent Orange.
Agent Orange.
He didn't even have the balls to come to Tulare County, where majority.
No, he got cut off in Fresno or whatever.
Majority of people actually voted for him.
Those motherfuckers cut him off on the goddamn freeway, and we're like, "Nah, you're not coming in," and they had to turn around.
Which is very
very
stupid.
Powerful.
No, it's actually very stupid.
Yeah, very stupid, but like it's
very stupid, because out of the little Hillary and Bernie Sanders voters that there was actually here in Tulare County, there was way more Trump supporters.
And that's one of the weird things about this place. For how liberal California is, the Central Valley is actually very conservative. It's there's a lot of people here that they don't want you in their business. They want to keep to themselves. They want to, whatever they build on theirs is theirs, you know, and which is great because yeah, they did build it and they did all this, but you know, when with the growing population, there is a growing view that is not normal to this, I guess, in this area. Mm-hmm. You know, everybody's pretty, you know, authentic. Everybody is really, we grew up learning from our elders, you know, and, you know, so we kind of keep those traditions going. And with the way that it is growing in this town, it's almost becoming a city. You know, we have Fresno up north a little bit. We have Bakersfield down south. I feel like we're going to be the, you know, the middle stop of anybody that's coming to California. Like, I feel Fresno is, it's kind of getting played out. People, whenever people, you know, there has been big guys or big stars coming out, you know, through here. I remember Modest Mouse came through here. You know, we had Felipe Esparza, which was amazing. You know, there's always acts coming in and out of here. And then there's a lot of local people that put on shows. There's a, you know, we know a lot of these musicians, and you know, hopefully we'll get a chance to talk to them too and learn what drives them and what makes them enjoy music to where you spend all this time on it, because music is, people don't understand how long it actually really takes to make a song, to make an album where you have to record, 50 songs probably, somewhere around there? Pick 10, pick 15?
In the hip-hop realm, one artist can actually record hundreds of songs before they find that 12 they're going to actually sell.
Isn't that gnarly? Like, imagine writing 100
That's a lot. That's a lot of words. That's a lot of
how many times do you repeat yourself?
Normal bands will record maybe 70 songs, 70 tracks, and they only pick maybe 15 or even 8 or 9 that the label, whatever they're with, finds to be actually good for commercial use. It's, at the end of the day, it's always trying to sell. That is why a lot of that's what one thing I do respect about the hip hop world is, not only is it the #1 genre in the entire world, which is pretty crazy on a global scale. Hip hop is #1. What I love about it is the fact that they could care less. Some could care less because they take pride in a lot of their songs, so they'll release them as mixtapes and not call them albums. And those streams, because we're in that era, the digital era, those streams are pretty crazy. Seeing 500,000 downloads to 1 million, to hearing and seeing on social media that their mixtape got streamed over 91.7 million times in a week. And not sold, obviously, but streamed. And then you see that versus the sales, and then you see, like, you know, rock is somewhat kicking it, you know, it's flimsy, but then country is still really going hard. You know, they have there's a pretty strong strong core fan base there in the country world. And so it's country, like country, hip hop, EDM, definitely. EDM.
Well, country's trying to merge with hip hop. If you like listen to the like a lot of the like Luke Bryan or
but they'll call it country pop.
Yeah,
that's the thing. They'll call it country pop.
But you think about it, like you actually like break it down. If there wasn't, like I was telling my buddy, because he one of my coworkers, he listens to country. He's a Mexican dude who listens to country, all country, mostly, you know, and like rock, but like classic rock. But you know, he was listening to country the other day, and so I was listening to the lyrics. You know, he was talking about, like, you know, a pretty girl at the bar, you know, trying to pick her up, slam ass. You know, it's, you know, it is basic lyrics, But what I took from it was, if that dude didn't have that accent, I don't think it would be country music. You know what I mean? I really feel
It
like
doesn't matter.
no. Well, I feel like that kind of like that accent, that kind of like it gives that feel of country. But if you were to take that away and just make it like I don't know, like a Midwest or California voice, it would, or just an accent, quote unquote, is it would sound just like a normal like rock song.
Well, that's essentially
That's the idea, right?
So where a lot of that actually derives, a lot of the elements, because Johnny Cash was country, Waylon Jennings was country, Elvis.
But
Presley,
they had those accents.
Elvis Presley was yeah. But,
you know what I mean? They had those.
It was
South,
but it was
those,
considered rockabilly. So
like those Tennessee accents. You know what I mean? Like
where is the
South? Like it just seems like that.
Keith Urban is Australian, and he's one of the biggest country stars in the world.
Yeah.
So there you go. You know, it's a matter of, and Aaron Lewis, the lead singer of Stained, does country on his solo. So,
but isn't that full from like the South?
He says, but you know, you couldn't tell that from listening to Stained all those years. Not until he started doing the solo stuff. Same thing as Darius Rucker, Hootie and the Blowfish. You know.
Well, yeah, because I feel like that southern accent, like if you're trying to sell rock records, like, you know what I mean? Like you have to kind of clean it up a little bit. But if you're selling country records, like that accent, bring it out, man, let it out. You know what I mean? It's good. You know, it sounds more natural, but it just seems fun. Like, you know, just to me, it seems funny listening to a southern dude rap over a rock record track, because you know what I mean. Like it's guitars. It is the you know, it is that, but like during the verse or whatever, it's like, you know, it's lyrical. It's a steady beat rather than being like, I love my girl. You know what I mean?
But that's honestly, it's funny because that's how like a lot of people see it, that as like
yeah,
country. They think
country.
that's actually country. But when like I said, Johnny Cash, Elvis Presley, like Waylon Jennings, Willie Nelson, all those cats from back in the day. What, you know, it's still to this day that's country music, yeah, because they had that old school, you know, they had that twang because they're from the South, but a lot of their music was considered rock and roll. So there's that fine line of, okay, what was it? Was it country or was it rock and roll? Country rock, a lot of people say that, but I don't think, you know, anybody can talk like this, but doesn't necessarily make it country. You know, because
I mean, it makes it
some people actually consider, some people like the country enthusiasts will consider Luke Bryan not to be country. He talks about spring break and wears bedazzled pants. Like some people like
that's country as
they're
fuck.
They're like that's not
Brooks,
country.
Man.
That's
Garth Brooks was
some type
bedazzled.
He's not bedazzled.
That
is an old school man.
Dude,
but I don't want to act like I know too much about country because I barely started listening to a lot of that stuff.
Pretty back in the day.
You know, he still is you know, considered. Still.
He's a handsome man for sure.
Yeah.
What is he, like in his 60s, 70s, probably?
50s.
50s, barely. Jesus. Yeah. No, I enjoy it. Like it, I wouldn't pick it as something I would put on my radio. Personally, it's not going to be on my playlist anytime soon. But whenever he listens to it, I listen to the lyrics. I'm like, all right, these things have legit sound, you know, and it's just, I don't know. Maybe it's just that whole lively feeling. I'm used to the dark. You know what I mean? Like the hip hop. Like I want to hear like, dun, 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 you know, like not da 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 da. You know, like it. You know, I'm a Deftones, not a Hanson. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like it's really upbeat, which is great. It's good for the soul, for sure. Like this is obviously what it's made for. But as far as personal choice and music taste, country isn't the top, even the 10. I don't even know. I could probably listen to other things before I could be like,
But see, that's the beautiful part about actually living. I think that's been the best part about growing up here is because there's the many influences from all over. Because the fact that we're not in the city, but there's a lot of kids who felt different and listened to different stuff, and a lot of that influence was from other places, from essentially from the Bay and LA. SoCal and NorCal influence and created, SoCal culture to where I'll sound like this and speak proper, but every now and again we'll say hella or be like damn or yada da, or be like that's sick, and then it's not because I'm trying to be hip or anything, because that's a lot like the lingo from what we grew up on. And
I mean, it's gotta just who are you? Who are you in the presence of? That's one of the great things about this town. There's one of the great things about this town too is there's so many people and there's so many like different ways of speaking. There's different sections in this town to where you don't necessarily need to speak this way, but it'll make it a little easier on you if you speak this way, or put a little bit of slang in there. Or maybe on the south side you talk a little bit more proper. You know what I mean? Like you kind of you kind of have to blend in because there's so much culture. There's so many different variety of people that your neighbor can be someone totally opposite of you, and you don't form yourself. You make you make it easier to communicate, right? Like, if you're hanging out in the hood, you're gonna be like more like yo yo yo. If you hang out with some rockers, some whatever, you're gonna be like hey hey hey. And if you hang out with with skaters, it's gonna be like bro, dude. If you hang out with family, it just depends on what kind of environment that is, because that's a completely different environment too, because none of that stuff actually matters with the people that you grow up with, the people that know you best with it, which hopefully is your family. So if you want to put on that whole yo 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 thing, they're gonna call you out on it. Hopefully our family will fucking call you out on that shit pretty quick. You know what I mean? Like, you show up with some Yeezys.
Well, if either of us were to show up with some Yeezys, it'd be like, when did we start selling drugs? Because I don't know if any of us. I don't know if any of us could afford.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? Why are you spending your money on? Well, like, how much money do you have, and where's that shit coming from?
Yeah, where is it coming from? And when did you start?
See, that's the thing about this town. You can really pick out who is doing what because of what they have. Because in a town like this, you can have nice things, but you should be built. It should be something that's built. If a dude has an afro and no swag one year, and the next one has a brand new Acura, with bass, and rims, it's like, okay, brother, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Like, there's, you're pushing. You gotta be. And that's another part of this town, is there's a big pushing rate with drugs. Meth does get made here, does get sold here. It's not as bad as an inner city, I would say, you know what I mean? There are plots of land where where it's going down, and you choose to stay away from it or not, you know what I mean? Like, you stay away from the oval, even the rec park where the skate park's at is fucking terrible. There's a shanty town in the back, dude. Like, there's legit, like, tents of homeless people living back there, and as long as they stick to themselves, they kind of don't bother anybody, I'm fine with it. Whatever, to each their own. I'm not going to tell you how to live your life, but, when it comes to the children's safety, overall decency, and as long as they're not making a nuisance, you can't really that that's one of the good parts about living in this town is you get judged, but nobody puts it in your face. They keep it to themselves, which is a conservative thing to do.
That's primarily our area. As some people don't like to believe so. Some people don't like to because of the climate of today, but I'm like, no.
It's like, dude, you're conservative.
It's still very much a conservative. I still have a lot, but I don't claim either party or anything like that. But
yeah, we're not saying we're Democrat or Republican. We're just saying we're like really conservative.
I'm a very conservative person because I see
compared to liberal for sure.
This way of living actually is not so bad, but there are a few things. So I'm not going to address them. Just the same as I'm not going to address what I'm conservative on, but there are a few things also that I'm very liberal about, and those things piss off conservatives. So that's all I'll say about that.
Well, I would think. That's why I want to make the distinction between Democrat, Republican, liberal, and conservative is they're not the same thing.
They're not.
You can have a view of both and not be part of either party. It's just the way. Just the way that it's set up is you're supposed to. If you're liberal, you're supposed to be a Democrat. If you're conservative, you're supposed to be a Republican. Oh, fuck that. You know what I mean? Like we're learning now that shit's not real. You know what I mean? That shit. It's. The system has to be changed. There can't be you're one way or the other. You know what I mean? Because there are a lot of things that I'm very conservative about, like as far as like, if you have your own business, or guns, go ahead, it's on you. But then there's a lot of things I'm liberal about where if you want to be gay, fucking handle it. If you want to do what, you can do whatever you want. If it's just that kind of thing where there's nothing wrong with having mixed views. It's just when you plug yourself into a party or a clan, it's kind of hard to open your voice. But that's the best part about these podcasts is judging from what you answer certain questions, I can tell whether or not you know what I mean, whether or not you sway either way,
or whether you're just a bigot. There's always that distinction.
There are hypocrites.
I don't. That's.
There's
honestly,
there's a lot of hypocritical people around here that they'll say one thing and do another. Or
I very much believe in personal evolution, so that's why if you still have the same exact views as you did 6 years ago, I really won't have a conversation with you because every year you should be open to change something, gain perspective on something that you said maybe years ago to where like you felt some type of way that now you're like, I don't think that way anymore. I see the bad side of bigotry, and I've really seen it, and a lot of it too, it sucks to say, but a lot from our own family. I've seen a lot of it. It's very, it's like, sometimes I think about it, I'm like, why haven't you even tried to see the other side or maybe change your perspective? I'm not saying you have to agree with that. There's a lot of stuff that I don't agree with, a lot of what these woke, quote unquote, woke people are saying. I really don't. And that's that conservative side. But I've seen that other side. I've seen the other side of the argument, and I've listened thoroughly. I've even researched personally. I've watched videos. I've heard seminars. I've read blogs. I've seen I followed the profiles. And at the end of the day, after all that, retaining all that knowledge, all that information, and I still feel the same, that lets me know where I stand and I can move on. But also move on having that understanding that, hey, I've heard it, I've seen it, and I've listened.
Yeah,
thoroughly.
Yeah. If you put in the research, for sure.
Yeah, I was like, I've actually put in personal time to try to understand what but the best thing is agreeing to disagree, and which is what a lot of people can actually say they do. See,
I think that term got lost in translation. Like it's really bad. Like it was imposed, like not imposed, but it was very well defined to us. Being, growing up in the 90s where, it's the clear distinctions. Like what you say is what you meant. Nowadays, there's so many loopholes. There's so many like, I said this, but I didn't mean this. It's like, come on, man, just tell me what you mean.
Let's just say this fact. if there was a video of her saying something that in today's climate is so taboo, if we said it years ago and that recording just so happened to get out, we would get chastised for.
Well, yeah, people are
the stupidest thing ever, because it's like, that's where I say I'm like, the way I thought 8 years ago is not the way I think of today.
Yeah, that's one of the things that is one of the bad things that's happening is everybody's getting
PC. Politically correct.
Yeah, well, no, it's not. It's just getting worse.
That's
it's getting.
What
it's getting.
What it is. No
like
one's
it,
afraid.
You know, it started in the '60s, and it's just progressively getting like, dude.
You're not allowing people to actually say how they feel,
like, bro. Yeah, to have your personal opinion, I think, is fucking illegal, right?
It's becoming
like,
that.
I know. Like at least 10 years ago, I may have made that statement before. You know what I mean? Like your personal opinion is going to be illegal one day. You know what I mean? Like.
Your freedom of speech is not going to be.
It's not.
You.
We're not. You know what I mean? Like,
well, actually, you're not
there's
protected.
words. There's words on here that we will not be able to say, obviously, and that is a censorship that should not be. And you know, I'm not saying that they won't get said. I know there's probably like 1 or 2 words that for sure will not be said.
That are very sensitive to a lot of people.
But you know, for the most part,
and we don't have to say them. I already know that.
Everybody already knows these words.
They just thought it right now. They
heard us say these words, and they're like, yeah, those words.
Yeah, they said these words.
I don't even have to even clue.
We don't even have to say
it. I don't have to clue.
Nope.
Anyways,
we already know.
Because like we're not judgmental people as much as we are able to make predictions. You know what I mean? Like, if you act a certain way, I can probably predict on how the rest of the night's going to go. You know what I mean? Or, you know, I don't, you know, call it a stereotype, call it a, you know, intuition, call it experience. There's certain things that I know in this life. If you're acting a certain way, or if I see something that's happening, because I'm very aware, I like to have a good, you know, environmental perspective on everything that's going on around me. You gotta live and learn rather than just being like, oh, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, that's cool. It's like, oh, let's do that again tomorrow. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of that going on around here, and it's getting frustrating with these kids, man. They get stuck in a loop.
Well, it's kind of funny because bigotry actually has an age group, which is pretty sad. And it's been revealed after this whole era, this new era started, this Trump era. Bigotry now has an age group, and a lot of people that I've met too that are my age, I listen to how they speak, but then I meet their grandparents, or I meet their parents, or I meet their just their relatives in general, or the people that they choose to surround themselves with, and I listen to their speech and even feel some type of way how they address me and what they choose to comment, and I look at that person and I say, you know what, now I understand.
Yeah, some people you just can't blame them, man. They don't know any better.
I understand, but I also understand that you aren't choosing to exercise your own free. Well, that's what some people don't realize. It's like you can choose your own perspective. Essentially me.
Yeah, but then again, we grew up in a household where we were able to have our own perspective.
Yeah.
Some people are not able to have their own perspective. Like, you know, they grow up in a household where if you're not a conservative, you're not a Republican, you're not a part of my family, you know what I mean? Or if you can't accept gay people, like, you can't be, you know, like, what's wrong with you? You know what I mean? You're not.
Or if you do accept gay people, what is
exactly. Or if you,
you know,
either way,
or
you know,
it's like.
Or if you're gay, like, you can't be part of my family because we're all, you know, we don't believe in that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Or if you don't believe in gay marriage, we don't want to talk to you. Like, I've seen the dynamic between.
Isn't that gnarly?
I've seen it happen with both.
That's so hypocritical, right?
I've seen it happen with both. That's just a touch on one of those. There's another. Oh, religion is the biggest one.
Yeah, I don't touch with that shit with anybody really either.
That's another big one.
That's one of the things they say. You don't talk about religion. You don't talk about politics if you want to have a good conversation.
Exactly. So
there's no way to end that conversation.
That's what I'm saying. Is like it's both sides. It's always funny listening to both sides of the spectrum though, because it's just like
poke it a little bit. Though,
one says okay, if you don't, this, and this, and this one says if you do, but this, and this. So it's like, so essentially, where is there a middle ground? I guess you could say. I'm not talking about any of those, but just in any argument, where is the middle ground? And I think that that's the beautiful part to where I, for myself, consider a beautiful thing when I finally, after my research, after really listening, after any influence, any cultural influence, I will say, you know what? I agree to disagree, and I move on. And the cool part is that I'll still talk to that person. I'll still hang out. We'll still have fun. I mean, if there's a thing that we could agree on at the end of the day, and if one of them is like drinking and having fun, okay, but we're gonna do that. We might not agree politically. We might not agree on whatever it is, but if we could find something to where it's like, well, hey, do you like pizza? Fucking love pizza. Let's go get pizza. Boom, there you go. It's like it eliminates all whatever it is that
it's just so simple. It should be that simple.
It should be that simple. Like, do you like beer? Yeah, I prefer. I prefer craft. Oh, there's a good spot downtown. Let's go. Or it's just like, dude, do you like football? Fuck yeah. Dude, you want to come over and watch the game? Yeah, I'll bring chips and beer. All right, boom. There you go.
See, that's the idea is that we have, all have so much in common. We're all basically the same person in a different body and have obviously our own individual thoughts, but there are things that we can agree on. And those things are, and even the things that I don't agree with you on, those are some of the things I want to talk about too. You know what I mean? I want to hear your logic. I want to hear your side of the story. I want to know why you think that way. And I don't want you to persuade me, but I want you to show me reasoning. You know what I mean? Like, one of the things that we search for here at Central Valley Livin is logic. There has to be fucking logic to what you're saying. There has to be logic to what you think. And if there's nothing like that, then why are you talking? Like, you're basically talking out of your ass. And that's always fun too. You need those people just to be like, what did you just say? And it just makes for a good conversation because then you can just kind of shit on them. Or go with what they're saying and, what is it called? Entertain, or what is it? Fuck.
It's for on what?
It was just like, humor me. You humor them. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah. All right. Let's go along with what you're saying. Tell me why you think this way. And, some people like we said, we grew up in certain households where that was their train of thought. They don't know any better as far as monkey see, monkey do. We were fortunate enough to have a mother that granted us with an open mind, as far as, we are able to choose if we want to go to church. We are able to choose what we want to do. As long as her rule was we stay out of jail, which I think I was the only one that fucked that up with the drunk tank with my DUI. But, the idea was, we were able to be our own person. And, one of the things that comes along with single parenting, in my experience, and as far as, what with our mother, you're able to get that, think for yourself, but then again, I was thinking too, there's a lot of people that don't get that because that maybe that parent that they live with solely has their mindset and they're trained one way. We were just fortunate enough to be able to have a free mind, to be able to think how we wanted to, and, as long as it's not a hateful thought, as long as, and if it was some sort of a negative vibe, there has to be some reasoning. If not, you get called out on that, and there has to be logic. There has to be a reason why you feel a certain way, and like I said, there's whether or not you grow that way or you came up with that on your own, which is a lot of my way of thinking is derived from experience.
I would say that was the beautiful thing about growing up, in our household anyway. Is that the fact that I hear some perspective. Let's just say our heritage is Mexican, right? So we're Hispanic or Latino, whatever it is. It's all the same.
Call it what you want, man.
The traditional way was that the man works and the woman stays home, cooks, takes care of that, blah, blah, blah. We, on the other hand, did not see that growing up. Both parents worked full-time. Our dad, from Mexico, came over here, met our mom, and we're here, and he worked in the fields, of course. Our mom hustled, was a team mother, and she was always smart. Still to this day she is, and worked her way up to get to the position that some in her departments had to go to school for, had to graduate from college for. And seeing that determination, seeing that motivation, and seeing also that even at the end of the day she still came home tired as shit and still cooked a full meal for her family. Things like that growing up gave us that perspective. So for me, whenever I hear, and this is for any culture, any person from any background, when they say, the man's supposed to do this, the woman's supposed to, like, well, that's not how it was in our household. I was like, and a matter of fact, the thing that worked was that both people worked together.
Yeah. Well,
on certain aspects, I mean, of course, we didn't
eventually Pops was out of the picture, then even then, that's when the real learning. I believe, to me, the real learning started. Because we were able to see Mom hustle bustle, fucking, she had the insight to be like, I gotta start teaching you guys how to do the cooking, the cleaning, dishes, like you guys have to start helping out, laundry. Because that's a single parent life is, your kids, once they're able to get to 8, once they're able to wash the dishes, man, just have them do that. If they can vacuum, if they can control that shit, have them do that. There's nothing wrong with having your kids do manual labor, man. It's okay as long as it's for the clan. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not, like, you can't send them out to be, like, to the fields. But if they're 15, 16, and they're able to do it, man, like, there's nothing saying that.
I believe, well, the best thing is that, a lot of my work ethic, or for any of us, derives a lot from seeing my mom, our mother work. She worked hard, man. And just seeing that authority, she had that authority. She was that authority figure, and even when Pops was in the picture, she was still in charge. She was in charge. There wasn't much lessons given from, but I think I learned and they say that you learn a lot more from what wasn't taught to you by someone than what was taught to you. And I think I learned a lot from the experience of that growing up. Which was a good thing, because I reflect back and I say, you know what, I don't want to do that, or maybe I shouldn't do it. And that doesn't go solely towards my father. There's a lot of things that our mother did that I didn't agree with growing up, and I say, I choose to not go against that, but I choose not to carry that. But this value, that value, this value, this lesson, that lesson, I will carry solely and keep it dear to heart. But there are some things, of course, like any person, anything, even if it's your favorite artist, to where you're like, oh man, that album was dope, and then the next album that comes out, you're like, what was that? It's like, why did I buy this? And it was anticipation. Just anything like that is just, you pick and choose, and there's a season for everything. And I think that, like I said, especially growing up there in this town, we've gotten to know a lot of that perspective, and the beauty of it is learning it all being in a quiet town, essentially.
Yeah, there's a lot going on here.
Yeah, versus a lot living in the city, to where there's just so much going on every single day. But there are weeks here to where it's quiet, it's beautiful.
Yeah,
and the only loudness is what you do, not what's going on around you.
Yeah, I think all the, with big cities, they're so scattered that, violence can happen here and you don't hear about it. Violence can happen here and you don't hear about it, on a daily. But if anything happens here, it's still a small enough town to where everybody's connected. Everybody wants to know who is getting arrested for what, because honestly, it might just be a family member. It might be somebody it's unfortunate, but shit happens, and we can't judge people on, the things that they do, and, as long as it's not inhumane, it's not you're not causing physical damage. If you're hurting yourself, that's on you. I can't, I don't want to be around it. I'm not going to, that's my choice. That's the freedom of choice. Is you don't have to be around these people. You don't have to be around that negativity. You can always build up some positivity. You can build up some, positive structure in your life. You just have to pick and choose. And people forget that it is your choice to pick your friends, man. Like, it's hard to ditch a friend maybe that you've known for a while. Maybe you don't even ditch them. Maybe you just let them go for, a year or two. Don't worry about it, man. They'll come back. You know what I mean? If they're worth it, they'll come back. So there's a lot of that going on around here where, I know a lot of people that have done, they were doing bad things. And I actually had a conversation with them one earlier, and, they're on their way to, bettering their lives. They're on their way to doing better things, and they understand the wrongs that were in their life that are making themselves in these positions to where they feel hopeless, helpless. They're just like, oh man, I should be doing better. I'm like, yeah, you can, you definitely can, and it's a mindset, and I really hope that you find that. And I want to, anytime that you need any kind of help, man, I'm here for you, because realistically, we'll go through, as we go through this podcast, we'll learn, all the different experiences that we've been through. Mm-hmm. And I've been through a lot of shit in my 30 years where people are my age are barely getting to where I was 10 years ago. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of that thing. And, I'm not saying I'm an expert on anything. I just know what I know from personal experience, and I'm willing to share that. I really want to share that. And, I can't just be like blurt it out all at once, but in time, with different conversations with different people, we'll learn more about each other. And I feel that that's what life is about, right? Just learning from experiences, learning from other people. Yeah. Wisdom it's not an age, wisdom is experience. And, the more somebody has an experience doing something that you haven't done, you kind of want to probably listen to them a little bit to get some sort of insight, and you make your own decision on that. But, don't go blindly is definitely not the route. You want to have your open mind. You want to say, oh, is that, why do you think this way? Okay, I get why you're thinking, but why wouldn't it work this way? Be open to sharing your thoughts. And I feel like a podcast is great for that, because it's free form. We're sitting here talking, whatever is coming up in our heads is what we're saying. And, a lot of people like to be edited and to make themselves look better, to make themselves feel more superior, I would never say that. And then whenever the fucking, whenever the cameras are off, they're just, just the worst person.
Well, I mean that's honestly the thing about social media nowadays is that no longer exists.
It does, but
privacy.
Hopefully, it's slowing down. It's really getting better.
Privacy.
Everything's getting better with social media because we're finally figuring that shit out. It's
actually a thing of the past. So nowadays, it's like you either who you are or you're not.
And if you're trying to be somebody you're not, you're gonna get exposed.
Yeah, which is why when I hear, and I'll say this, if you hit up anybody saying why did you post that up or this and that up, stop. It's not your social media.
Yeah, this is not your platform.
This person is being themselves. Allow them to be themselves. But you could critique, but never ask why did you post it up. Just say, well, why were you feeling that way?
Yeah.
What were you thinking when you did post this up? But to say take that off, no.
Yeah, it's one thing to have an opinion. It's one thing to oppose your opinion on somebody else. There's a difference between already having from what you showed me, this is my mindset, right? But you could be like, hey, why do you do this? And they can maybe change your mind. They can explain to you, why does this girl show her ass all the time? Maybe she just has, daddy issues. It's just like, why does, maybe somebody posts something. Like, I see a lot of skateboarding posts where these dudes are just posting this gnarly shit, and, who knows if they're even, sponsored. They're just, you're just like, who are you? And you learn who people are by that instant picture, or a video. You can't judge people, but you can really put a basis on whether or not you want to engage with this person or you want to see what this person's all about and follow them or subscribe or anything. And it's, to me, to follow somebody, they have to have some sort of insight. They have to have some sort of goal, unless they're a friend, that obviously hopefully they do too, and I really want to talk to them, because my friends are awesome. The ones that I kept around, obviously they have something to say. They have a brain. They have some sort of insight into something. They can get deep, and hopefully they will be willing to get on this podcast here. One time or another, because we have a lot to say. It's hard to sum it up. We're trying to keep this intro into a good amount of time, but we have so much to say. We want to say it. We want you guys to give your insight onto what we say. So please, comment on Instagram or comment on YouTube. If you hear something you like, you don't like, if you want to be you want to be a guest, if you have something you want to say, put it out there. That's awesome. We want to hear it. Like I said, we're very open-minded. We don't swing one way or the other. We kind of just stay in a good dangle. We kind of just sit in a good spot to where we can learn. We're willing to learn, but we still have our own opinions on how things are in our reality. You know what I mean? And we look forward to having guests. We look forward to hopefully having listeners. We look forward to hearing comments and any kind of insight that you guys have on anything that we say, hear, or do would be great. Any last words?
No, nothing I said.
Yeah, good little outro. Yeah, so hopefully you'll hear another one from us next week. We don't plan these things. They kind of just an idea, and we go from there. A lot of times you'll be seeing my attorney, the great Fancy Clown, photography. You'll be seeing him a lot, and hopefully a lot of fresh faces. But for the most part, it'll probably be us. So get used to us, the beautiful us. Hopefully we'll be seeing you guys soon. So from everybody here at Central Valley Livin, this is JGUZ.
This is Jan's home.
Yeah, those are our Instagrams. So yeah, look us up, man, and thank you for listening. See you later.